wanna chat, you wanna talk about this and talk about that. You're in the right place to hear the facts. Bring it on. Say what? Bring it on. Say what? The ladies are bringing the conversation. So join us or say what across the nation. Bring it on, y'all. Say what? Come on. Say what? Bring it on. Say what? Come on. Say what? Bring it on. Say what? Come on. Say what? Bring it on, y'all. Say what? Come on. Say what? Bring it on.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Saturday, a beautiful Saturday, might I add, in the month of April. We are in the height of spring. Can you tell? I'm excited.
Yes,
take them coats off, take all them boots off. I'm going to need y'all to recognize the spring. Welcome to the show, ladies. It is wonderful to have you here. Welcome.
Yes, it's wonderful to be here.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And we are so happy to have our listeners here today. We got the pastel colors on. Vanessa didn't want to cooperate today, but
I'm sorry, I didn't get the memo.
She didn't get the
memo, but it's all good. And the bishop is working on getting here. So we just going to keep her in prayer. But otherwise, we got the junior bishop who is ready to bring the word. She wearing the Easter purple, y'all.
Yes.
Give it to her. Junior bishop, what is it that thus saith the Lord?
As I stand in for the senior bishop, okay, she laid prostrate before the Lord and got the word, okay, and I am only the deliverer and the doer of the word. Do you understand? So let's make sure that the senior bishop gets all the credit, huh? Let's do that.
Amen.
The senior bishop sent unto us Psalms 127, 3 through 5. This is the Passion Translation. And it reads, children are God's love gift. They are heaven's generous reward. Children born to a young couple will one day rise to protect and provide for their parents. Happy will be the couple who has many of them. A household full of children will not bring shame on your name, but victory when you face your enemies. For your offspring will have influence and honor to prevail on your behalf. Listen, I must say, as I read this, I thought so dearly of my daughter, who is, when I tell you, prevails and on my behalf, has cared for and cares for me, and I'm not even at the age and stage where I require, care. When I say technology and all that good stuff, I buy stuff and then I say, can you read this and tell me what to do and fix it? Even down to that. Yes, I do not. So I agree. Oftentimes we find ourselves, and this, I'm going to relate this to our topic today, because a lot of the, I guess, Gen Zers, right? Some of them are with the whole not wanting the children, and I don't want to have children and this, that, and the other, and that's fine. Everybody's got their right. However, God is clearly telling us that a house full, because how many of us have heard of somebody having 8, 9, 10 children and saying, ooh, you know what I mean? How many of us have done it? I've done it, right? How many of us lived it? You lived it, right? So I lived the 6, right?
I lived it.
Right. So
I'm gonna stay out this grown folk conversation, because
stay out of grown folk conversation.
Only children. Yeah.
So never mind only fans, only child. Okay, that's only children. So I lived it as well. However, on the child side of that perspective, I had a lot of people to look out for me, to play with. Primarily my brother that was almost 4 years older than me. That was the primary one that really fooled with me too much. My sister Dodie did, because she just likes kids. The rest of them was like, look, little girl, keep it pushing. Anyway, however, a house full, you have a greater chance, let me say it, if you have a lot of children, to have a 1 or 2 or 3 that will be willing to look out for you. Because here's the reality. The children don't always want to look out for you. I have an auntie who has 1 child. And there have been some challenges over the last 5 years, and she literally said, "It's times like this when I wish I had more than one child." And so God is saying unto us, for those of us who raise our eyebrows and, remember we were giving the Octomom all of these problems back in the day when she had all those children and, we were judging and this, that, and the other. She has a greater chance of some of those children saying, that's my mom, I'm taking care of her. Sure, there are going to be some who are going to go on about their life and not pay attention. However, God is letting you know, you have a boatload of them, or you have 5, 6, 7 of them. 2 or 3 of them might come out and say, I'm going to take care of my mom and dad. It's going to be okay. And then let me add this. Those that have those children, and then those are those who rear other children. And those children will step in as well. Because if you have good bonus children and you're a good bonus parent, they want to step up for you. My dad's, we're going to say significant other because we're not going to use the biblical term concubine. But anyway, we're going to say significant other. Isn't that what I'm saying?
That's what the word says. That's King James word. Yeah, go ahead.
I loved her dearly. She has since gone to glory. And I used to look out for her, not as far as bringing her into my home because she was there and she had a godchild. She didn't have any children. She lost her child when the child was young. Not long after the child was born. Anyway, I looked after her the best I could because I loved her and I cared for her. So I understand that. So what say you ladies about the word?
So before Miss Vanessa's going to chime in here, I just want to add, for the sake of this discussion, some stuff got to be pulled out of the King James. Okay, so the same scripture. Lo, children are a heritage from the Lord, and the fruit of the womb is his reward. As arrows in a mighty hand in the hand of a mighty man, so are the children. So again, if you look at sometimes in the King James, it says, children are the man that's blessed is the one that has a quiver full of children.
That's right.
So I had to bring the word quiver in, so that we get the complete understanding. So like arrows, you just kind of shooting out and you kind of whatever. So the Lord says that you are blessed if you have a quiver full of children. So Vanessa, what say you?
So, and I apologize. I thought I had muted myself for coughing. I apologize for that. So what?
Nick Cannon. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just Quiver came up and Nick Cannon came up. But go ahead. I apologize.
Oh my God.
So that could be must. But my question, I've got a question actually more than a statement. So what about people who would like to have them but didn't and may or may not have bonus kids? Does that mean they are not blessed? I mean, what happens with those? And I know you all may not have the answers, but that's a question that came in my spirit. Yes. Bettina's hand was up first. Yes.
I thank you for calling on me because my hand was up first. Thank you. I hit the buzzer first. First of all, your being blessed has nothing to do with you having children. I don't believe that. That has absolutely nothing to do with it. My auntie lost a child. He was born. He only lived a day, and she has nieces and nephews. Oh, I love it when I see the bishop.
The bishop done made it. See, she heard the question. She heard Vanessa's question. She wants to chime in on the question.
He said, getting on here some kind of way.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say my auntie. So I'm gonna make it brief so the bishop can chime in because I have to always yield to the senior bishop. I'm just gonna say. We give our life, Romans chapter 10, verses 9 and 10. We are blessed, right? God loves us, and God has a purpose for each and every single one of us. And maybe motherhood and fatherhood is not it. Maybe it's a mentor. Maybe it's you're guiding other people in other directions. So yes, I don't think that you having children makes you blessed, and you having 12, Nick Cannon, makes you more blessed. Okay, I'm gonna yield my time.
To Miss Sonia, Bishop Sonia.
Well, I don't know what was said prior to coming on. However, I just know that children are blessings from God. And
Sonia, not to cut you off, but to that statement, my question was to the ladies, what what happens if you did not have children for whatever reason, you couldn't or decided not to for whatever reason, and you never had children? Does that still apply to those who might be barren or just didn't have children at all?
So I don't think I understand your question.
She said, "Are those people not blessed?" That was kind of what she had
Oh,
asked.
absolutely not. Yes, they are blessed. Just because you don't, because some people do not have kids and they have no control over it. Some people choose as an option not to give birth to children. That doesn't mean that they're any more blessed or not. God is just saying that they are a blessing, that they are a gift from Him, and it's not like He's withholding anything from anyone else. But this is how that's how He worded it in this particular passage. And so that we should, oftentimes people don't see giving birth to children as an honor and a privilege, and it is. And I believe that He wanted us to understand the blessing in it and being able to procreate, have children, and raise them to fulfill the purpose that He created them for. Because we don't have the power over who comes through our womb anyway. That is on Him. That's all God. But He just wants us to be good stewards over what He's blessed us with. And just because you did not push the baby out, for lack of a better way of saying it, does not mean that you cannot be blessed with children.
Got you.
Can I chime in here?
And fulfill what He said in the scripture, because He didn't say about how you had the kids. He just talked about what children are, who they are.
And I just want to attack and put scripture, because I'm the third junior. It's junior by the time it gets to me, right? So I just want to add my little 2 cents. Isaiah 54:1 talks specifically about the woman who did not give birth to children, that she would have more children than that of those who actually birthed. So again, he speaks out specifically about whether you had a child physically come through your womb or not, because in that scripture, he's saying you will have more children, which if you try to put it in layman's terms, clearly you can't have more than somebody who's birthed. So that would have to mean the people that you have mothered. I will say, and I hear from others say, this is my bonus mom, this person who looked out for me, who kind of did whatever. And I will put this title to say, yes, it is absolutely possible that you are there to be able to be a parent to someone else and birth them through their process. So you have both places that mention both either physically birthing a child or metaphorically.
At the end of the day, what God wants us to understand is that children are a blessing and a gift from Him. Whether you give birth to them or whether you end up becoming a mother by other means, because that does happen. At the end of the day, someone had to give birth to the child. And in doing so, his point is that they are a blessing and a gift from Him.
Absolutely. And just so we have our listener to comment on the bishop, he said, needs to show up on time. Almost left the room due to her absence. No offense to the rest of the panel, whatever their names are. I'm just putting it out there. I didn't say it. Somebody else said
Clearly,
it.
the bishop is a fake. And the bishop, you be struggling when you're not here.
And you know what? I am not above correction, and he is absolutely correct. Even though he don't know what was going on behind the scenes, and I'm not going to make excuses, he is correct. And I received that, sir.
The bishop will be decent and in order.
He said I almost left the room. See, he wrong. He wrong. He is so wrong.
Look, forget about the rest of us, whatever.
Right.
Yeah. And then there's that.
Oh my gosh. So, and we also have a comment as well. Children are an inheritance from the Lord. Women are stewards of the garden of children God has blessed this world with. Absolutely. And again, to those who have mothered children, there are many more than that of a woman who has birthed children, and for somebody to say, I have gone places and people have mothered me as well. So there are many, many, many more. So without further ado, Miss Vanessa, there
Yes,
is so
ma'am.
much going on in the world. I don't even want to go and say what I was going to say.
I'm just gonna scratch the surface because y'all don't want to go deep because that's too scary. So
No.
we're gonna give you a surface level update. So China on Thursday denied any suggestion that they were in active negotiations with the Trump administration regarding the tariffs. This comes after comments from Thursday that Trump said, not Thursday, but on Tuesday, Trump said that things were going fine with China and that the final tariff rate on Chinese exports would come down substantially from the current 145%. He said that he alluded that they were in talks. Well, the Chinese spokesperson Gao Jaikun, and I know I messed that up, so I apologize for messing that up. But he is the spokesperson for the Chinese Foreign Ministry. He said during a daily briefing on Thursday that, for all I know, China and the U.S. are not having any consultation or negotiation on tariffs, still less reaching a deal. So he's saying somebody lying and it ain't us, and we're not in talks. Although the Trump administration continues to say that they are in talks, but they're saying, no, we haven't talked to anybody, and things are still the way they were this time last week. What say you?
I say you heard what he said.
He said what he said.
He said what he said, right?
Hey.
You have to. So I look at it like this. You think of what history we have with honesty and dishonesty on both sides. So that's say
I agree.
Okay.
So I heard a comment this morning that I thought was valid. Not my comment, but this person made the statement. Someone or someone's are getting rich on what's happening in this country. Meanwhile, at the same time, we are pinching pennies trying to buy eggs and trying to buy whatever. And I thought that was such a on-time statement, and it just puts it in perspective. We are trying to make ends meet. Meanwhile, others are getting rich because of what's happening. And I just think that that's kind of a better view of, and it puts it in better perspective to help us to really recognize what's going on in this country. But we were told that we were going to be the best off, and you can't be the best off if you're still pinching pennies. That's just my 2 cents.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, a few weeks ago, the stock market plummeted. I mean, it's done it several times, but this particular week, the stock market plummeted, and Donald Trump went on Truth Social and said, "Buy now." And some of his people did buy and were like buku mega millionaires the next day because it went back up. So yes, it is obvious that they did go, that they did. I think it was done deliberately, and that it's. I think everything that's happening is by design and it's done on purpose. And it's only those with the money who can afford to buy, because this particular person in his administration put in $100,000 on a particular stock, and the following day made $900 million. Marjorie Taylor Greene, when she first came into Congress, she was worth $700K, and I believe now she's worth $22 million. So I don't know. I can't call it a smash and grab. That's to me the equivalent of what's happening with the economy. You crash the economy, people go out and buy, and it goes back up because you say, okay, we're not going to pull the tariffs back, and now I got rich. I think that's just what's happening right now. It's just.
Could it also be that we just got this report of 100 days, and now we need to put something out there to change the narrative so that we can take it away from how the popularity number has gone down? So
But this was
Again,
before his popularity because they just came out with that poll that you're referencing on his popularity. It's plummeting just
Right.
like Tesla's stock. All of it's plummeting. And but this occurred before the most recent poll that you're referring to.
yeah.
Everything's tanking.
Yeah. So again, at the same time, to change the narrative, change the conversation, get you to pay attention to instead of what's actually going on. But again,
Right.
at such a very wealthy country that we are, because when you go to other countries, they talk about how wealthy this country is, and to be pinching pennies to get eggs and make stuff meat is ridiculous. So
Someone said you live in the land of milk and honey, but you can't eat any of it because you can afford to purchase.
Can't afford it.
exactly, exactly.
But moving from there, Pete Hegseth, he's the defense secretary, a non-DEI hire, who is the defense secretary. Last week, 2 weeks ago, it was exposed that when they invaded, they were sending troops over to. I'll tell you that in a minute. They sent troops over. They were going to bomb one of the foreign countries. My thing is spinning, so that's why I can't fill it up with spinning. But they were going to send bombs and bomb this country, foreign country. But he inadvertently added one of the New York journalists to the chat. It's like me sending you all a chat. I add my husband by mistake, and it's sensitive information. This is military secret, military maneuvers that occur or are supposed to occur that was sent to a journalist. Thankfully, the journalist was intelligent enough not to expose it, because that could have caused a lot of lives had he actually exposed it and put that information out there. In addition to that, it's also been found, NBC News is reporting that his Pete Hegseth, again, the defense secretary, his personal phone number that was used in the Signal chat, they used this chat called Signal to discuss this military operation that was occurring. So they used that. This number has been found all over the web. This is the defense secretary. This is the same number that he used on chat. So I'm just not feeling safe here. I don't feel safe. We got a defense secretary that's using a chat. Something that I could have come up with, an application that I could have come up with to discuss sensitive military operations. Now his same number is found all over the web. His phone number has been exposed all over the web. It's easily accessible on the internet and public apps, potentially exposing national security secrets to foreign adversaries. What say you?
He done said everything all over the web.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know that we need to say anything.
Everything's all over the web. So I mean, it is what it is. All I will say is Hillary Clinton, because we had to have trials, we had to go before Congress, we had to sit and talk, we had to threaten to put people in jail, but none of this happened. Because I believe the first time it happened, the reporter said, he was told he was lying, and then he put stuff out there and said, "I'm not lying if I got this." So then
he wasn't even sure. He wasn't even sure that it was real, so he held on to it to see if it was actually happening. Then when it actually came out, they bombed this area. That's when he said, "Okay, this was real," and they had me on check. Can you imagine one of us being on the chat and you see something like that? You probably automatically think it was spam or a scam.
Right.
Until I saw that it wasn't. But anywho, I'm gonna hit. Two things I'm gonna hit. Pope Francis passed away the day after Easter. He was the most recent. He was like the people's pick. Everybody loved him. He just had his funeral procession this morning. They had his funeral. It was attended by over 100 dignitaries, including Donald Trump and Melania. What say you?
I say keep J.D. Vance away from me. Because didn't he visit him the day before, a few hours before, something along that line?
You know what? Yeah, I wasn't
If
gonna go
JD
there.
Vance is coming to Georgia, I'm going to Alabama.
I wasn't gonna.
Visit
I
some
wasn't
friends.
going there, but somebody. Well, I can't say that. I can't even put it out there. I won't even say what someone said. But yeah, yeah.
That's you said what say you and that say me. That's all I'm saying.
Ooh.
Oh
Well,
God.
I admired his character. He
Yes.
chose to live at a menial level. He didn't even want to be transported in anything, extravagant. It's interesting to hear his upbringing, and hear where he came from. So they showed a video of him talking to a young girl and asked her to sing, and how
Yeah.
she commented on,
Yeah.
years ago when she was a child and now. So again, his character was very good, and he made sure that regular people were counted and not just so elite that he couldn't touch regular people.
Right.
Yeah, foreign delegations from 164 countries attended, and that included again Donald Trump and Melania, along with Ukraine's President Zelensky. Um, in addition to that, President Biden and Prince William and French President Macron. Those were some of the people who were in attendance at his funeral this morning. I like the fact that he wanted to be buried in a wooden box. He didn't want anything extravagant, and he had them put him on a low level and not put him up high. He wanted to be on the
Right.
same level as the people. I like the fact that he believed that everybody should be loved, and that was up to God to judge, whatever it is they were doing. We were here to love that person, no
Well, that's
matter.
what the Bible says.
Absolutely, but you got people who are in those positions who may not, they'll make their own, uh, they'll make their own Bible, they'll make their own,
Or just hold it upside down, whichever way it works.
but either way, yes. And then I want to hit something real quick. Shannon Sharp.
Oh,
Mm. Mm.
Should I keep going?
Oh, oh.
go ahead, Vanessa. Go ahead. It's news.
See, now y'all make me not even want to touch that.
No.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Just report. We just reporting what
you
has
gotta
been
report
reported.
it, honey. You don't make up this news. You just report it. Go ahead.
Thank you. I don't make up the news. I'm just reporting it. But Shannon Sharp is being sued by a young lady he had been seeing for a while. Again, my computer is not letting me be great, but he's being sued by this lady he had been seeing for a while. She's accusing him of raping her. She's 25 years old. And a lot of people have gone in on him. And I don't know if you all saw the interview he did with Cat Williams. Any of you ever see that?
Yes, and the one you did with Monique.
And with Monique. Well, in Cat Williams' interview with him, Cat said, Cat mentioned or talked to him about how he steered clear. And I'm reporting the news. I'm not saying this, I'm just reporting the news and what Cat Williams mentioned on how he made a point in Hollywood during his time in Hollywood that he made a point specifically to stay away from white women because he didn't want them to have him running down the street like Majors, the Majors actor that went
The one who married
Megan Good.
Megan Good.
Anyway, he said, he just made a point to stay clear of them because he just felt like that he would get in the same type of trouble if he did. Not saying that that's correct. I'm just quoting what he said. Anyway, he did tell Shannon Sharp that was his decision. He made that decision, and now they're actually coming down on Shannon for not listening to Cat Williams' advice. Shannon Sharp has since put out videos or audios of conversations that he's had with this young lady. I don't know if that's hurting him more than helping. She also put out videos. So everybody's putting out a video to try to prove their point that he did this or she did this or it was consensual. But Shannon has since said that he was stepping away from ESPN until all of this clears, and he expects to be back on ESPN during the NFL season. Yes, Bettina.
Sir, you have children older than that young lady. I get it. If she's legal, I get it. She got all the moving parts that we have. I get it. House of
All
Never,
the moving
comma,
parts, but
all the
some of
moving
us more.
parts.
Some of our parts move a little bit more as you get older.
A
But go
little bit
ahead,
more than they
Tia.
used to. House of Never, comma.com. Monique said you need to go get your old fat gal. One that can
Yep, that's
bake
what
good
she said.
cakes. She said one that can bake good cakes.
Rub your feet.
One that when you try to go to round four, she gonna make you some cheese and eggs, give you a little energy to get yourself together. And you need to stop running around with these 20 and 30-year-olds. You need to just stop it, right? Listen, let me tell you something. There is something to be said. People to each his own, and all of that. I male and female. There's a lot of them that like these younger versions of whatever it is they were. Male and female, it's not just men. Okay.
Right.
Don't matter what the color, right? That
Right.
just happens to be kind of the black man's Achilles heel at this
Friend.
point, and they ain't learned. However, and whatever, right? If you are 20 something years old, first of all, you almost my son's age. My son is almost your age, and you're way younger than my daughter. You don't know who Frankie Beverly and Mays is.
Girl,
Okay. And if
right
I
there.
say Earth, Wind, and Fire,
Popping the
it's gonna be a
balloon.
problem.
I'm popping the
And if you
balloon.
tell right, and if you tell me that Rick James stole MC Hammer's song, you can't touch this. It's gonna be a problem. You understand what I'm saying? So I first of all, on a serious note, I want him to go sit down and be quiet.
Right.
He keeps running off at the mouth. He keeps airing videos and posting stuff and this, that, and the other. And sometimes you just need to do what the seniors used to say back in the day, go sit down somewhere.
Go sit down.
Sat
Yes,
down. Sat
S-A-T.
down.
You need to go sit down. You don't need to keep standing up there defending yourself, talking about I did this, it's a 10-minute video, it's a this, that, and the other. We gave you a pass when you pushed the button on Instagram and was having sex, because you got to push more than one button. It didn't accidentally happen. We said, yeah, okay, you just want folk to know you getting busy. We not worried about you getting busy.
Right.
Matter of fact, I threw up in my mouth just a little bit, just
I
thinking
know,
about
right?
it. Okay.
Right.
So I'm just saying, the moral of this story is go set your behind down somewhere. You and your attorney. Your attorneys should know better.
So I
And
just
be
want to
quiet.
add and be
And be
quiet. You're
quiet,
right, Sonya.
right.
You're right, Sonya. So I just want to add Michael Irving, if you guys remember, got caught up in his
Right.
stuff
Right.
before. And Michael has been caught even while he was playing ball. And he did a video and he said, I feel for him. He said the name of the game is they offered her 10 million. They want to get
wants
that
50.
number higher.
wants
And
50.
this is what they this is what they want, and this is kind of what. But again, if we notice, the story never changes.
Just
It
the
is
people.
always the same story. And I will say, from having a large child and large people in my family, you are a walking light, and gnats are being attracted to it.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to pay attention to what's happening. You are not invisible. People are not just going to let you do what you're going to do and nothing's going to happen. But you have to pay attention to the story being the same story every time.
And on top of that, real quick, she has the same attorney who was accusing Jay-Z.
Busby.
Busby, yes. Busby is the same attorney that because this is a civil suit. It's not criminal. This is civil. This is all about.
And let me
Which
tell
means
you where
she can do
else-
what she want. Which
Right.
means
Let
she
me
can
tell
do
you
what
where
she
else
want.
I think. I'll tell you where else I think they went completely wrong. Is that releasing that woman's name? It don't matter. I think that was a complete foul on the play, and that was used. That the point of that, in my perspective, was intimidation. Because all the people that believe in him are now going to go find her and barrage her with all of this ugly, hateful
Well,
stuff.
if you think about it, the reason that's been coming up, because remember, for years it used to be just Jane Doe 1,
Jane
2,
Doe,
3, 4, and
and
5.
she
right?
presented as Jane Doe.
But in the Diddy case, the same thing came up. The Jay-Z case, the same thing came up. The judges are now saying, if you are the person, then you need to have your name out there. So now we've got a trend.
They were saying it was difficult for them to defend themselves if they don't know who Jane Doe is that's accusing them of it. So they wanted to have the person's name and information in order for them to be able to say, yes, I did this, or no, I don't know this person, or whatever. So that was one of the reasons why they started releasing the accused.
So I wanted to also advocate for, the victim, the
Absolutely.
victims in the situation,
Absolutely.
because again, we are no way, shape, or form saying that
Nope.
anybody didn't do anything.
Right.
We weren't
Because
the
we don't
victim.
know.
Right. So we're not part of that. But again, at the same time, looking at, like you said, 20 something, if you remember back in the day to be with a grown man and you were 17, 18, that was bragging rights. That was bragging rights all day. But at the same time, we have a person, because this was supposed to be 3 years ago when this occurred, 2022, when all this went down. So we have somebody who is, classified as knowing better, and we still messing with,
Right.
young people. So again, the story never changes. It changes characters, but it's the same story, and somebody needs to wake up and pay attention to what's going on.
And then here's the other thing real quick is Shannon don't need to do, Shannon need to need to sit down and be quiet what he need to do right now.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's what he need to do right now. He talking about he don't date. He think he would. You trying to be a rapper? I don't date my age. I date my wage. That wasn't a good rap, sir. It's not going to be on the top 10. I'm here to tell you, you're not going to be Kendrick Lamar with that. And then let me add this. If she made 25 at this point, because I understand she might not quite be 25, her prefrontal cortex is not finished fully developing yet. Your brain is not, you ain't making great decisions. It's people 58 ain't making great decisions, and 59 making bad decisions.
That's right.
At 25,
That's right.
at 25.
Yeah, I agree.
So Vanessa, are we
One last one, the draft. Shadur Sanders, Deion Sanders' son, was expected to go in the first round draft. Now he's at day 3 and still undrafted. You all think he's going to be drafted? Who you think will pick him up? And why? Why do you think he's going undrafted? Do you think it's because of who his father is? I mean,
is he fully ready for the NFL right now? Perhaps, right?
Yes.
However, I feel like he is, right? That's just from watching him and watching him grow. I feel like this is a kick in the teeth to his dad.
I agree.
feel like that. I could be completely wrong. That's what I feel. And I hate that he is getting caught up in it.
I agree. I think
same-
they're sending a message to his dad. It's nothing to do with him. It's more about his dad.
Cause didn't somebody do a fake call to him like it was like they were making a call for the draft and he was answering? They did. I saw it on his
Did they?
and he answered the phone and he's like, nobody has this number. Like this is a private number.
Oh, so Batikwa said that.
It says it says he was
he
drafted
got
by
picked number
Cleveland.
44. 144. My God. And by the Browns too?
Just now.
Just now. And see, but think about it. Tom Brady went, what did he go? 199? 199? He went 199. Also, LeBron, that's what Mark just came here was trying to mouth to me. When I'm trying to talk and I can't do both, so I didn't know what he was saying. So he just came to tell me his Browns just picked him up. That's what.
So 144 is that third or fourth round?
This is third
That's
round.
fifth round.
Today's third round.
Okay.
Because it started on Thursday.
Tell Mr. Mark we said hey.
Today's third.
Well,
Wow.
third, fourth, fifth round, he got
He is
picked up.
That's right.
I'm glad. But still, him not going because he was expected to. Did he get MVP or something? He got
They retired his jersey. It's
it's
fifth
fifth
round. That's why I said
Fifth round.
we in the fifth round. We in the fifth round.
Is this fifth round now?
This is fifth round.
Oh, wow.
He knows.
Wow. Okay.
But now it's up to him. Been given the opportunity, and as you guys were speaking, I just kept thinking sometimes too much exposure is a problem. However, I do agree with you, Bettina, as it relates to just being caught up in that thing with his dad. But at the end of the day, it's his opportunity to show his skills and go out there and show them really how great he is, and it has nothing to do with his father. And that's what I hope happens. And for all of those who passed him up, so be it.
I agree, and I look back at Tom Brady. He went what 199,
199, I
and now
think.
they call him the GOAT. So
There you go.
call him the GOAT. He is the GOAT as far as I'll probably get jumped on. They might be calling me before we get off this call for saying that. But
And
when it comes to football and quarterbacks, you can't take from it. You can't take it.
Right.
you know, you just said when you said that I just the Lord just dropped in my spirit also as it relates to this young man. You know, sometimes we wanna see and understand why things happen or did not happen the way that they should. But this could be God's divine plan for his life. Because at the end of the day, when you come from a family like Deion Sanders and having a father like him and how great he is and everything, sometimes some humility, God has to humble you and prepare you for what's to come. And we know that they are a family of believers. So at the end of the day, maybe this is God's divine plan for him just to get this young man's attention so that he can just slow his roll and does he know that, you got to earn your keep like everybody else. You can't go in here on your father's legacy. You got
Right.
to prove yourself.
Right.
And so I look at it as an opportunity for him to just show how great he really is.
Right.
I
I
agree.
agree.
I
Well,
agree.
Dion is saying, and they have 5 quarterbacks in that room in Cleveland, including one they took in the round 3. So this is scandalous.
They got
I
5
I agree with Sonia. I think sometimes, again, the to me, this is just to me, the culprit is the NFL. This is Colin Kaepernick type behavior that needs to be called on the rug. So at the same time, they developed this, I don't know if I want to call it brotherhood, because there are some women that own some of the NFL teams as well. But at the same time, a message was sent. And in my opinion, somebody has to deal with the NFL. The last time we had this conversation was during the Colin Kaepernick situation. And everybody else has to make changes but the NFL. And I'm sorry, somebody needs to say, and it's not Roger Goodell because he's just the face.
Right.
But it comes back to these billionaires that we were talking about earlier and how their behavior is left unchecked, and somebody needs to speak to that behavior. That's just my 2 cents.
Absolutely. Well, I'm done.
Well, as y'all can see, we had so much to talk about. We're going to have to have a part 2 to our conversation because what has occurred today with just trying to get it all out is a lot. But I will bring the conversation that we are talking today, which is I think the title of the show I put was "We Striking." As women, we just don't strike. We holding all the eggs together. Ain't nobody letting nothing go. Legs are crossed. Ain't nobody getting nothing. We ain't doing nothing. But the conversation is really more. Women are, studies have shown, and I read in a statistic 2018 where women are between the ages of 30 and 40, actually that age needs to be younger, ranking career over having families. It said it was 44% of women ranked living on my own more important than having a child. 34% ranked a career as the priority, and then 27 listed financial security as being more important than having a child. So ladies, what say you? What do you think about these statistics?
So I think part of the reason that there are more Gen Zers, I guess we could say, are opt not to have is has to do with the Roe versus Wade. In their inability to choose which direction they want to go, so they do find themselves in that position. I think that has a lot to do with it. I also think that guys, the Roe versus Wade impacts them as well. I the percentage of people who are getting vasectomies has gone up as well because of Roe versus Wade. So I think that has something to do with it. I think also the economy being the way it is, and they're having difficulties just supporting themselves, that might also have a lot to do with it. You know, the housing market at one point was just so high, it was not really attainable, or even it was some couldn't fathom buying a house because you had to fight pretty much other people just to buy a house. I think the market is kind of easing up a little bit now, but I think all of that has a lot to do when you're factoring in reasons why a lot of the younger generation are having children. And on top of that, the administration, Trump administration, they're now trying to offer incentives for people to have babies. Kind of like, they pay you to have a child. You go to take like administration classes. They're coming up with ways to try to increase the birth. More births here in the U.S. So I think a lot of that has to do with economics.
So I believe. Sorry about that, Vanessa. So I believe it has to do with economics. And I also believe that these young people around us now, and I'll go as even young as my son who's 18, they are watching what's going on. And a lot of them, and I'm hearing them in college, they're saying, I'm not bringing anybody into this world the way it is now. Are you kidding me?
Yep.
That is that's kind of the statement. And it's, not going to lie, it jolted me a bit to hear that for somebody so young to say, I'm not interested in doing that. Like you can't even afford to pay for yourself. What are you gonna do? How are you gonna get a family and make a family? They're not thinking in the biblical sense, like the scripture that we started out with. They're not thinking any of that. They're thinking this world looks like it's going to HE double hockey sticks in a handbasket. And do I really want to bring somebody else into this when I'm having my own anxiety about what's going on in the world?
Exactly.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Miss Sonia, what say you?
Well, for me, I'm gonna come from a different perspective, and I'm just thinking about some of the young people that I know because of the culture they grew up in, now them not having enough confidence in relationships. So one, women don't want to be single mothers raising children alone. They don't want the sole responsibility for taking care of a child. And then at the same time, if they're a married couple, they're deciding not to get married because they don't have a confidence in being able to maintain a successful relationship because of what they've seen happen in their own family. The divorce rate is very high right now. And so a lot of children have witnessed their parents and other relatives who have gotten a divorce. And their thing is, I might as well just be solo and live my best life because it's not going to work anyway. It's not like when we grew up with our grandparents and even our parents stayed together really for better or worse. And they don't even understand really what for better or worse looks like because of what they have seen. And so I do know a couple. I was hoping I could have them come on as a guest, but I couldn't get in contact with her. But I know a young couple that recently, I think this is going to be their third wedding anniversary, and they were adamant about not having children. They just want to do them. They have a life plan. They had goals. I mean, they started out with premarital counseling. They set goals for their marriage. They set goals, career goals for themselves. I mean, if you could just check off a box of how to do it, this was that couple, or this is that couple, and children were not included in it. And the parents are a little disappointed because they want grandchildren, but at the end of the day, they're like, this is our life. We are both in agreement, and we just don't want to go that route. And they have their reasons that they don't feel like they have to explain to anyone why. They have their reasons why, and they're sticking to it. And they're happy living their life. And you know what? I want to acknowledge real quick. I wish we would stop saying that people are selfish because they don't want to have children. this is the life that they have, that they choose to live.
Right.
And that's between them and God, how they carry this, how they walk this journey. And it's so unfair because they choose not to have children for people to say that they're being selfish.
Right.
I
Right.
just
I
I
agree
just
with
think
you.
we should stop doing that to people.
Right. We
I agree
absolutely
with
should
that.
stop.
I agree with that. I want to come from a different perspective. And as people can hear, there are many different perspectives that you can come with this. For a mother of a male black child, do I want to bring another male black child that could possibly be accidentally killed? Do I want to do that? I agree to the point that, they're watching what's going on. And do I want to risk that? I do think it is hypocritical of the people at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue to sit here and be all up in my womb before, and now you want to pay me to have money? I'm sorry. It's just hypocritical. It's the opposite of what you just said.
Pay you to have children, yeah.
Right. You in my room trying to pay attention to when my period came on. Really? And now you're going to want to pay me money for, but meanwhile, back at the ranch, you have men who get to do what they want and walk away from it. So I agree with the point of not being a single mother and dealing with that hardship. The article that I wrote that I read was a very good article, and it talked about the different perspectives, of women right now are the top population that are working right now. We are top. And they're looking at student loans. They're looking at everything they have. I didn't accomplish this level and all to have it go out the door. So $5,000, if I may quote Whoopi Goldberg on The View, is an insult. You pay more money just to have that child, and you're talking about $5,000. It was an insult. But at the same time, you're not looking at all it takes to have those children. And even though they're grown, as their parents, you're still paying for them. You got to have life insurance policies and stuff together to make sure everything is together. So again, I think a lot of it is requiring more conversation to talk about some of those fears that young people are having. And I'm having one in my household, and what that looks like. And I don't know. And what does I don't know mean? And what are you thinking about? And, because again, what I see, this is just what I see. A lot of times the conversation is about what's happening today. There is no conversation about what's going forward.
Right.
There is no conversation of becoming that senior who does not have anybody to look out for them, because that's the other half of this conversation
For sure.
about what happens as we age.
On top of all of that, the programs that most people will use to help them raise those children, you're getting rid of.
Yeah.
Hypocritical.
Right.
But what happens after I have it? Who's going to help me raise the children after that $5,000 is gone? Government has
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Vanessa.
No, I was just saying the government will have nothing for you then. I gave
Right.
you $5,000. You're supposed to use that.
You're taking stuff as it is. I wanted to step on a more positive note, and I wanted to say that I am wearing purple because I, myself, and my daughter are veterans, and the month of April is the month of the military child, celebrated every April to recognize the sacrifices, commitment, and service of military children and youth. The observance symbolizes the Army's dedication to providing quality care and positive youth development for their future. The dandelion is the symbol of the month, representing military children's ability to thrive wherever they land, similar to how dandelions can flourish almost anywhere the wind carries them. And they're speaking in terms of how often we move and we get PCS, we are transported to other bases and stuff like that. And these children have to pick up and make friends everywhere they go, or try to make friends, and they may be there for 2 years and then they're gone, and sometimes they're in 2 and 3 high schools before they graduate. So I wanted to recognize that, because the next time we meet, it won't be April, but I wanted to recognize the military child.
Well,
And we had a brunch yesterday. We had a lunch yesterday, breakfast yesterday at my Sugar Bears school, and they acknowledged that. So I want to kudos to his school.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And again, we
bring
thank
that
you
up.
for your service. And it also brings back the conversation of even military children moving around and what that means and making friends and all of that has to be calculated with having a child. And again, we have to look at how that impacts us, what that looks like as that parent trying to help that child adjust, what that looks like as far as what goes on. And again, it's futuristic. It's not today, because these unfortunately may be Gen Zers who reach a certain point. And another part of the article, and I'll say this as I end, is the other part of not being fertile and how much money we have to pay to try to even at least have a child. So there are so many different factors that come into the conversation. And as we can see, this conversation needs to continue. So we are going to have a part 2 of this conversation and bring it back to the table, because there's so many different ways. And again, the whole premise for this show is for us to have conversation in the community and things that affect us. So ladies, 30 seconds. What are your final thoughts on this conversation?
Go
Go ahead, Vanessa.
Sorry, Bettina. You just say, you should let people live the lives that they choose. And because we all have enough on our plate. I can't be concerned with the life that you're choosing. You and God, that's between you and God. And do you.
I think it would be great to have a part 2 and perhaps have the bishop's guests on, and maybe find another guest that speaks the same way. And I think it's different for women. I think when guys say they don't want to have children, people go, I know that's right. And when women say it, they say you're being selfish. So I think that there's much more to be said on this topic.
Absolutely.
Bishop?
I agree with the ladies. Just mind our business, and if it affects you personally, if you're that mother that are wanting grandchildren and your children are like, nah, take it to God. I'm telling you, He answers prayer.
Absolutely. And to that point, there are so many children in these United States, as the old people call it, that we could just pick up and mother them and kind of go, and you'd be surprised what you can actually have out of that relationship. So as y'all know, this conversation will continue. We will be back in 2 weeks to have another conversation, hopefully this one, and we'll make this much, much bigger so that we can all have the conversations we need to have. Ladies, it was so good seeing you. Bishop has been brought under that she need to be here on time, and Dion ain't gonna say nothing else.
People breaking up with us because the bishop ain't on time.
Okay,
What is that?
okay.
They leaving us because they don't see the bishop.
Exactly.
We don't want that. We don't want that.
But we love y'all. We will see y'all in 2 weeks and be back here at another conversation at the table. Y'all have a great weekend.
Get ready for Sonia, Teresa, Vanessa, Bettina. Come on. Say what? Come on. Say what? We got prayer, hot topics. We got what the fudge. So bring it home. Say what? Bring it home. Say what? You got questions. We got the answers. You wanna chit? You wanna chat? You wanna talk about this and talk about that? You're in the right place to hear the facts. Bring it home. Say what? Bring it on. Say what? The ladies are bringing the conversation. So join us or say what across the nation. Bring it on, y'all. Say what? Come on. Say what?